Live from Spare Bedroom Studios, you are listening to Under PDT.
On today's Under PDT, Wes and I are going to do a little look into cash's performance versus equities and bonds over the past 92 years. That is how deep our backtesting is here in our spare bedrooms. We're also going to go into some of what we saw in the market today. A little bit of a news flash. It was a very boring day today, but last week, Monday through Wednesday, was pretty good. It was a decent Thanksgiving week, even though it was an insane micro momentum. And we are also going to do a long and short of the week. But before we do any of that, a word from our unofficial sponsor, Espolon. Espolon is our favorite tequila. They haven't compensated us for this. They don't even realize we exist. But that is the smoothest tequila. It is the most affordable tequila that's really good. And we are still doing a free offer, even though I love our listeners and they haven't taken us up on this and it makes no sense to me. If you buy a bottle of Espolon, tweet at Espolon that I bought this bottle because of Under PDT's unofficial advertisement. We will compensate you for the bottle you purchased. They're going to have to acknowledge us, whether it's via cease and desist or whether it's via giving us a real ad deal. We'll figure it.
That's right.
So Wes and I, before we kicked this off, we actually had recorded a decent amount of a podcast and forgot to click start record. So you can see we're really in rhythm at the moment.
Yeah, it's still the Thanksgiving hangover. I do wonder, we've already got our long and shorts for the week here panned out. What were the conversations like around the Thanksgiving table financially this year? We haven't had this kind of volatility going on to Thanksgiving, I don't know, since what, 08, 09?
The opportunities to talk about this, we full disclosure, you and I haven't even discussed putting this on the show, but the opportunities to talk about this are just so abundant this year. This is like a perfect Thanksgiving for your drunk idiot cousin to ask you to sign up for Robinhood with his referral code, and for your uncle to be like, "What the fuck's happening in my IRA?"
Yeah, and that's the big one because Uncle's over there sweating bullets.
Oh yeah, he is. He's drinking a little more than usual.
Yes, yeah, looking for a refill run.
So if you had, and I don't know if you do or not, but if you had an uncle who was like, "Hey, what the fuck do I do here?" What do you tell them? Pretend I'm drunk Uncle Will. Wes, what do I do here?
Sell it all, move to the Bahamas, man. You're going to die in 5 years anyway.
That was literally the best advice. That is the best advice that you could have given 90% of those people.
And walk away.
Live for the moment.
Break the wrist, walk away.
It actually segues to our first point, though. Cash is outperforming stocks and bonds in 2018 to date. So good job if you're in all cash, but this is the first time that's happened since 1994, and it's only the 10th time it's happened in the past 92 years.
Yeah, and I do love that it's funny that it coincides because you see so many people when volatility does pick up and they say, "Hey guys, you don't have to do anything. Cash is a position. Just sit on your hands, wait." And then sure enough, this headline this morning, "Hey, if you've been sitting in cash, you beat the market and bonds this year." Everybody's like, obviously I know what I'm doing sitting in cash.
Yeah. Well, that's why Wes and I are proud to announce we're starting the cash service.
Yes.
We will teach you how to sit in cash properly. And no, it's not as simple as it sounds. You don't just keep it all in a checkings or CD or money market or a savings account. It's harder than that.
It is. You have to sit in the cash physically.
Yes. We're talking about storage units, mattresses, old coffee cans. Channel your inner Pablo Escobar.
Yep. Think about Phil Mickelson winning that $9 million the other day in cash. And he's like, "Great. Hey, this outpaced the market. It's not like I can really trade the market since I did get busted for insider trading."
Yeah. I was so pissed he won.
It was a terrible match. The only thing that was good about that was Charles Barkley. If they hadn't brought Barkley in there, I would have turned it off after about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
the best part was the Verlander Barkley banter going on.
Yeah, Barkley was awesome. It was an all-star day for him. Tiger and Phil's betting, considering how much money these guys are worth, it was so boring. It was like missionary sex. That's what I would describe their betting like. You got a hooker thinking, "Oh my God, here comes $500,000 close to the pin bet." I was like, "No, give me 2 to 3 odds, man." It's like, dude, you're worth Phil, it's like 150 million, and Tiger's like 750 million. Entertain me, damn it! I'm hung over here. Let me see it.
And we know you've got to give away a little bit of money for some charity at the end of the year. You're trying to get that tax bracket down lower. Also, just their personalities. Apparently, they're both king shit talkers on the course, and I guess they didn't want to let that side of them be shown. But my man, give me two golfers that will show that side and actually get some entertainment. Obviously, bring John Daly out there, and whoever wants to play. Bring John Daly and Pat Perez. Neither of those guys give a fuck about what anybody would think about them after that match.
Who's the sort of chubby Argentine guy? I think he's won a Masters or two, and like
Angel Cabrera.
Yes, that's my. I mean, obviously, you know far more about golf than me, but me as like a extremely casual golf fan who just knows the very big time guys. Give me Angel Cabrera and John Daly, and you could charge me. You could charge me more for that than you can Mayweather boxing. I'll watch that.
Yeah, true.
And obviously include alcohol.
Yeah, that's Esteban could get in on that with us. Maybe we could somehow set that up. But yeah, cash is up 5.5%, give or take a little bit, year to date. So that's actually impressive.
What's funny is that could be a real anti-Fed argument. You could say, "Hey, Powell, you're going way too hard here," but like, no one will make it that simple. They'll just look at the equities correlation.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but that's an impressive move in cash. I mean, I know Brexit is long past us, but you have these different implications where it's reintroduced and then it's taken off the table. You have geopolitical concerns. You have issues with the euro across the board. So it's been a good time dollar-wise. And you're in this unique situation where all these services generally advocate keeping all your BP in a brokerage account, even though if you get to consequential amounts of money, you won't really need it, particularly if you're trading microcaps. But here we are. They were actually right.
Now, since we are talking about cash, we have to bring up the currency that was supposed to overtake the US dollar leaps and bounds and its current performance. It is not a good day to be a crypto bro.
It's a great day to be us, though.
Yeah,
because we haven't even discussed this, but am I safe to say we are officially the anti-cryptocurrency podcast?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're shots fired on that. There is no middle ground. We're anti-cryptocurrency.
I would bring someone on to school us in crypto and tell us what it's all about. However, I would laugh at almost everything they say just because of the performance of crypto now. It's dead. It's done.
Oh, if you want to talk to me about it being viable in some form of transactions down the road, it's fine. So be it. But if you want to talk about speculation, you were playing what a microcap was, just emotions and crowds. That's all that was. You can't tell me that rapid an ascension was normal for a currency. I mean, unhinge your head from your asshole and tell me that is normal for a currency to do.
You knew that. Now the SEC's really got their foot down a little bit, but I had to find the name of the coin, but it was a marijuana coin. So obviously you had the marijuana craze, and it was The Game. The rapper The Game came out with his own weed coin, and they just straight shut it down. They're like, no, sorry, you're gonna have to refund your investors' money. No ICO for you. This is just too much bullshit.
Think about the shit we see every day. Think about what we saw in SPEX today. Yeah. And someone actually made something shitty enough that the SEC was like, hold on, man. I can't let that go.
No.
I let everything go. I can't let this go.
No.
Yeah. It's like if you have a buddy who you're just constantly badgering and you do so many offensive things and he finally gets to the point where he's like, nah, that's my limit. I snap. Hold on. Let's not get too deep in our market talk. And as you could tell, there was some boredom in the broader markets and in microcaps today. So we're gonna have a lot of banter, but we do need to do our long short of the week before we get too carried away.
Oh yeah,
so give me your long short.
So I am long Baker Mayfield. The guy keeps getting better every week, and just a little surprising stat: you've got Baker Mayfield on the Browns, you've got Aaron Rodgers on the Packers, and they have the same exact record, 4-6-1. Unreal.
That is unreal. Baker's playing awesome, and I love how he just sort of stood up Hugh. I love how the Browns just totally disrespected Hugh Jackson this weekend and just showed him to be the beta male he was on the sideline.
Pretty much, and it's. I almost feel bad for him because they let him just be such a whipping boy for so long, and then they're like, "Oh shit, we got Baker," And they're like, oh, now we got Baker. Like, hey, Hugh, see you later, buddy. Hit the bricks. You were our scapegoat, and we were going to, act like we were going to let you lead us back to the promised land, but no.
Yeah, that timing didn't make much sense, did it? Hey, your 1-31 start wasn't enough to get fired, but now that we have a couple wins and we have Baker, you're definitely out.
Yeah, you're fired. And apparently Baker just went up there, pulled an OBJ, said, I don't like this guy. And he's gone. And then RSLS, I am short their time left on the NASDAQ. When you halt during the middle of the trading day to get off an offering, you're trying to get kicked.
You are trying to get kicked. That's an example of just the SEC allows that shit to go, but the game couldn't get his weed coin on.
No,
what a shame.
It is.
I was short RSLS today, so nice job by me. I was short approximately 15% of what I allocated for my borrows, so not so nice job by me. It's a give and take. But I am long. I'm from the Northeast originally. I'm from an area where people love to say, oh, it's so much better here. How could you move there? That is New York, if anyone's wondering. And so I am long people in cold climates asking me about the weather down here in New Orleans. I got my first text. Is it really 70? And it wasn't actually 70 degrees at all at the time I got the text. I don't know what the person was looking at. But that's probably my least favorite type of person. Is the one who loves to talk about how, like, oh man, how could you live there? And then they start becoming enamored with how nice some of the other things are in those areas. It's probably a dynamic that only exists. The more I talk about it, the more I feel like I'm just I'm therapizing, and it's just something that happens with people who move away from the Northeast. But I am long those people because I love when they start having that realization they're going into the really, really bad part of winter where it's dark and cold, and they come out looking like a grizzly bear that's just been feeding for their hibernation the whole time. So I'm long that because that's one of my favorite parts of the year. I am short Jim Harbaugh. Talk about getting your shit shoved in. Talk about an ass kicking. I mean, Jim, I don't particularly like Urban Meyer, but he just so badly out prepared, coached, and destroyed him for whatever time in a row this is now that everyone is enamored of Harbaugh. I'm short Jim Harbaugh.
He does these cheap things to grab headlines. Can we say he's the Elon Musk of college football?
That analogy is almost too good. I wonder if you were sitting on it.
I actually wasn't. It just came to me. But, he's regarded as the genius. But yet he says stuff like, don't eat chicken. It's a nervous bird. He grabs headlines for just ridiculous things. But when it comes time to put up or shut up, Elon's got the lead by a mile over Harbaugh. Obviously, I know we're talking about two different things, but
no. But you know what though? Harbaugh runs this. Harbaugh's offense would look simple by 1880 Yale standard.
Right.
Yale's 1880s offense is more complicated than Harbaugh with Shea Patterson.
He and Gruden love drawing up plays together.
Yes, they do. And they love pretending it's like 25 years ago and they just have the best defense by a mile.
And that's it too. That's what I saw, man. Ohio State, there's an old saying, you can't teach speed, you can't coach speed. Ohio State had the speed and they utilized it perfectly.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, they did. They almost looked as though they were playing possum all year and that they were going to be like, you know what, if we look like shit against Maryland and Nebraska, that's all well and good because we're going to beat Michigan.
I mean, dude, they got blown out by Purdue. They should have lost to Maryland. I can't stand Ohio State.
Maryland kid can make that throw. Listen, that kid from Maryland can make that throw. They lose.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. I can't stand them, but I almost question if they were like Alabama's not tenable this year, so we will eat a loss for me to beat Michigan. But that's my conspiracy theory of the day.
This basically, when Ohio State goes to play Michigan, it's like RSLS being up 100% and us showing up with borrows. We're like, well, this is easy. I'm going.
This is easy. This is easy. I wish it could be like this every day. All right. Well, before we get too deep in our college football tracking, which, by the way, it is getting to the time of year when the boosters and the crazy fans start tracking where planes are flying, and that's my other favorite thing all season. It's when people are looking at the coaching moving around. But before we get too crazy with that, let's get into what we saw today in the market. And I'll just simplify it. We don't need to build it up. Beta was boring. It was there was obviously some range, but nothing really extravagant. We went wire to wire on this gap up. I think RSLS and SPEX were little bits of entertainment in microland.
They were, and RSLS was great. I was couldn't find a locate on it this morning, so I was a little saddened by that. But you got it, and then you shorted it pre-market. Why did you take that pre-market?
So RSLS, let's just talk about, if you look 2-year chart, split adjusted, and I understand the volume might not adjust on your split based chart, so you might say that's no volume whatsoever, but this legitimately has a split adjusted high of 63,861. If I wanted to talk to people about the amounts of dilution present in this stock, I mean, I would take up 2 podcasts worth. You'd get bored, you'd fall asleep. Without even getting into that and just looking at the technical element of it, at 285-ish, they had what I would consider an apex type breakout that failed. That's where I started short. And you combine that with the horrific fundamental story in this stock, and it kind of compounds itself to really be a good trade, in my opinion. And if you want a general rule of thumb, this is not an absolute truth, but if you have a reverse split and a micro cap that has an awful long-term chart, the likelihood that you will find some shit if you dig deep enough is, can we call it 95%?
Easy.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, there you short 285, so you've got a 23-cent risk up to what was the high day. And then you wait till open, and it just immediately gets crushed on heavy volume, heavy selling. It's not coming back. So you're driver's seat at that point.
Your driver's seat, and I even recycled a tiny bit. Like I covered, so I mean, this is kind of embarrassing in hindsight because of how weak it was, but I actually got an opportunity to cover 231 for some a pre-market still, thinking we might get some knee-jerk, rush at the open and get a little rally, and re-shorted some I actually got to look at my execution, but I want to say 247, and just re-shorted what I covered. So again, keep in mind we're not talking about a consequential amount compared to what I borrowed, and it was just dead before I even knew it. I was covered. I did decent on the covers, got to 160. I was not expecting middle of the day offering.
Right.
I didn't account for that. So yeah, I still left some out there. Still.
And that's always going to happen, but
I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I didn't mean to jump over you, but with an RSLS, I think there's invariably, it's going to be tough to quite take everything off of that, particularly if you're up a decent amount quick.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, we always pray for those nice jams that open when a stock's faded off to give an opportunity, to get all your size in or get a little bit more. But yeah, when they have just those sudden drops, it's hard to chase with that. So sometimes, the starter size is what rides through the whole day. You're like, oh, what could have been, but it's the way they go. But yeah, man, I didn't make any trades today because I couldn't get RSLS borrow. SPEX did have my attention. I could have located it. It had a fee on it, and so I wasn't going to locate it until it proved that it was worth a borrow. So it was trading a lot of volume this morning. So it
absolutely was.
It had the liquidity, so there's a check, but it just couldn't get that range that I wanted. And I was like, I don't want to sit here and fight for 10 cents or 20 cents. And if you nailed this thing, maybe you got 30 cents. But it's like, well, do I want to pay for borrows and sit in all day, get 30 cents? Hey, if you do it, that's great. But I much prefer a range like RSLS. 30 cents is nothing to make.
I completely agree with you, but can we just talk? And you're 100% right in the terms of execution of trading. But can we just talk about SPEX as candidate for headline of the year award?
Yeah, because that's what cracked me up. I mean, that's really the big reason why I looked at it, because I'm looking. Okay, this thing had a little spike, and they just merged with CBM Biopharma Inc. And so that's they're an innovative pharmaceutical company with pioneer drugs and treatments focused on the multi-billion-dollar oncology therapeutics market. Now, that is very nicely packaged together there in their PR.
Yes, it is.
But today they PR'd that they were actually taking a stake in a scooter company. Now, this is different from Bird, because I believe Bird is privately owned. This is Mellow Scooters. All I could think about was Step Brothers and him saying, I'm going to do the logical thing and go to Enterprise Rent a Car. They give you the tools to be your own boss. So you can buy your own little scooter franchise. You can buy 2 scooters. You can buy 100 scooters and deliver them to sidewalks and rent them out to people. And I do wonder what their insurance is like and their company umbrella, because when, a couple bros get on these scooters and mangle themselves, who's paying that tab when they sue your ass?
This is inexplicable. You and I have sort of had the conversation. Do we even bother going into fundamentals on the show? Because while I do think they have a place in microcap trading, the likelihood that a person quickly ascertains the knowledge and applies them quickly is so low that you're better served checking how to trade technicals. But when you see these two PRs in proximity to each other, newsflash, that's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean that's the epitome. So it just cracked me up. That was, and I like digging into fundamentals as far as stuff like that, just for the entertainment factor. This is stuff that should make headlines.
This is stuff that should make headlines. Like this should be like a bloopers type thing. How upset are you if you go and sign up for their experimental phase 1 trial of whatever the drug may be that they're testing out with CBM, and then you later find out, hey, we also do like scooter rental via our app, like if you want to check that out, but we only have like 0.5% of that one.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's the best thing you could possibly think. You're probably more thinking like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm taking a drug. Yeah, I have this shit in my body now. I'll take anyone else's drug besides you. Yeah, that is a farce. I mean, God, that was just. I wish it could have gone higher, actually, knowing that, because that is such a joke. I mean, talk about like a laughable holding company situation.
That's what I was really hoping for. I was hoping it would get higher. It didn't, but one of these days.
Is it bad to have thought like I'd laugh if they're like, well, the scooter gives you cancer, then we treat the cancer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is bad, Will. I'm just strictly laughing at the microcap. That's all it is. Strictly laughing at the microcap, not wishing any ill on people.
Another terrible microcap that I want to keep on the back burner. I think it's going to have a run in December.
Can I guess who you're going to say, by the way? Because I have a feeling I know who you're going to say. Higher, HYER.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm watching them every day.
Yeah. I agree with you. I love that. I love that look. I love that stock. I think it's become a paper seller and not a company. And I mean, just for the sake of my own liability, I don't have factual proof of that. It's strictly my opinion. I don't know that to be true. But you know what I'll be doing when I see it come around.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I was talking to this kid from Jersey last night. He is a senior in college, and he's majoring in finance. And he's asked me a little bit about what I trade, and I was explaining some of the stuff to him. I was like, but there's a niche in just short selling shitty companies. Take this hire car, for example. Check out their business model when you get home. Tell me what you think. And he says, holy shit. He was like, their business model looks like something that a freshman would submit as a project and got a D on. I was like,
yeah, I was just about to say D- work.
Yeah, but they're listed on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, man. So if you're good at selling shares, you don't really need to have much in the way of a business model. So that is a funny example. We should start doing that as a case study, sending it to our friends who are less exposed to capital markets and being like, hey, what do you think of this company's business model? And what if I told you this was the valuation? Get the reactions off.
Oh, they're insane.
They're absolutely nuts. So something else we're supposed to discuss, even though this is like the world's worst transition, bad radio. Beta is, well, the beta is not the right way to put it. The actual macro market is having a tough time, as we sort of allude to with the cash issue. And we're seeing particularly momentum technology names lose some steam.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what is the likelihood that like 10-year-olds today will have a Facebook account in like 8 years? Because that is one of the leaders in the shittiness right now.
I've seen some people talking about that. And I do think that, my big thing with Facebook is they're so fucking lucky that they had the foresight to buy Instagram. And they're so lucky they were able to get it for $1 billion. And that was all.
Yeah, because that Instagram actually is extremely actively used by, I don't know what the average monthly users are, but God, it's a ton. Whatever it is.
Just to clear it up, They owned Snapchat by introducing stories, which are basically the snaps. And Snapchat's market cap right now is still 8.62 billion. Again, Instagram got bought for 1. So Facebook, if they didn't have Instagram, I think they're in real trouble. I still think they're in real trouble. And it's not what it was. And it's been this long die off. It's everybody's moms now, is putting up pictures of what they found interesting for the day.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's becoming like the people our age are starting to be more the people who have Facebook, and it's like we're out of our prime in the social media scene, which I'm happy to be, but it is what it is. I don't want to say like they're the beacon for the entire market, but it is notable. I mean, when you go, we'll say for rough numbers, 220 to 130 that quickly, that's really substantial. We're seeing huge sell off on the chips. Micron, Nvidia, there's the real crap your bed one, AMD. We're seeing Apple get cut down to size. So it is interesting because it's tech momentum. It's the momentum leaders. It's not necessarily huge breadth in the sell-off, even though I know a lot of stocks aren't doing well. It is interesting to see tech momentum just especially get nailed.
It is, and I mean, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even if I am probably one of the biggest bulls out there, and I don't think anyone can deny it's a long time coming for.
Yeah, and you have to have a reset like this if you expect to go higher. I don't know if we're going to go higher from lower or here. It's not my job to know that, but for health reasons, I do think it's healthy to have the pullback, and then I think you can reset and go higher. Now, granted, there are a ton of headwinds out there, and I've got to go back to Facebook really quick because I'm on Philosophize Island here. But when they started, everybody was so willing to get on there and give away all their information and not really care about it. Now that we have such a focus on your data, your information, and your privacy, are we actually seeing people retreat back and want to take back their privacy, take back at least what they can? Because, hey, once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah, no. Once you're part of the internet, you're kind of in that morphic being, and you can't.
Right. I just think people are a little bit more conscious of it now. And so that is hurting their growth.
I agree. A little bit. I think also having the massive issue, having data breach issues just doesn't help at all. No. It's going to be sort of a testing ground as a company because, there's no question they can accumulate money and still generate massive amounts of revenue. And Zuckerberg has been successful in that sense. But in terms of justifying a major multiple, you have some serious headwinds in that situation. Absolutely.
But I'm with you. I'm interested to see how the market and high beta play out this week because last Wednesday we saw beta not participate in the rally. And so it was just window dressing on Wednesday. Somehow they had futures up, 300 points, but nothing was moving.
And all my friends who work in more sophisticated Wall Street were like, this has to be the bottom. This has to be the bottom. And it is kind of funny to see that because the realm of how they operate is somewhat reliant on that. But it's like, I don't exactly see why it has to be the bottom. And some of the arguments like, well, Brexit, I understand the knee-jerk reaction to that. And you could say theoretically that decreases the dollar and then, permeates more business. And I don't know. I think you're grasping at straws when you're talking about just technically having to come out of a downtrend. So we'll see, but it should make for we might have very interesting Christmas conversation about what's going on with our uncles and our cousins and our brothers and sisters and everyone asking us.
I forgot about that. I forgot how close Christmas is. So it's a double down event.
It's a double down, baby. Or tax loss harvesting. It's all good. All right. Well, we've been talking way too long. I can feel when we start getting boring. So I think we're here. I think it's time for us to wrap this up. Guys, please participate in the Espelon Challenge if you want to drink the best tequila under $30. And let us know any guests you want us to interview. We have some good ones lined up coming throughout December and into 2019. And give us any suggestions or any feedback you may have for us. And don't be offended if we call you names when we mention it on the show.
All right. Thanks, guys.